also for organizing this webinar, which replaces events and meetings in presence that we hope to be able to resume very soon in the near future. I'm very happy to meet you virtually and talk about such an important topic for all of us, which is the Mediterranean diet. On November 16, 2010, in Nairobi, 166 UNESCO member states unanimously voted to include the Mediterranean diet among the intangible heritages of humanity. In fact, the idea behind was that the Mediterranean diet is much more than just a list of foods. Italy acknowledges so much the crucial role of the Mediterranean diet that our Minister for Agriculture, Teresa Bellanova, just announced the creation of a department in her ministry, which will be in charge for the specific topic of the Mediterranean diet. Our Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Luigi Di Maio, recently underlined the role of the Mediterranean diet as an extraordinary vehicle of support for the Italian agro-food sector in the world. In fact, we are talking about a key sector for our economy with an aggregate turnover of about 538 billion euro. Agro-food is also crucial for our export, and Germany represents the most relevant market with about 7.2 billion euro export in 2019 and growth margin of more than 7% in the first 7 months of this year. Also, in the perspective of the Italian presidency of the G20, based, as you may know, on the 3P, people, planet, and prosperity, I wish also to recall the strong focus of our government on the topic of sustainability. Within this framework, we are fully convinced that a broad implementation of the Mediterranean diet can become a key factor to strengthen the protection of the environment and enhance the sustainability, especially in the southern and eastern Mediterranean region. Such area will be among the world's regions which suffer the heaviest impact of the climate change. Urban population growth and the temperatures in the region are both rising at a faster pace than the global average. Mediterranean farmers, therefore, face a daunting challenge as they seek to adapt to the consequences of higher temperature, changes to seasonal rainfall, and increase of invasive species. In the Near East, environmental challenges such as drought and desertification are making peace harder to attain, and fragility is having even security regional spillover effects. The Mediterranean is widely acknowledged to be a hotspot for the global climate change. At the same time, it has also so much to share to improve the sustainability of the food system. The Mediterranean diet, praised since the early 70s for its nutritional features, can be pivotal to implement a more sustainable food system. For example, in order to obtain 100 calories, the Mediterranean diet's carbon footprint is 40% lower than that one of comparable food regimes. This shows to what extent the Mediterranean agriculture is instrumental to foster sustainable consumption and production, including more sustainable sourcing and a more efficient management of water resources. We know that agricultural activities account today for 30% of global greenhouse emissions. While we have made progress on combating extreme hunger, a growing global population will imply rising demand for food. Farm and Agriculture Organization, FAO, has highlighted that food production should increase by 70% by 2050 in order to nourish an expected 9 billion world population. However, there is a growing consensus that instead of focusing on food processing output, expanding food availability while making farming less carbon intensive can provide a viable alternative. Italy is a global leader in sustainable agriculture. This is why we all need to step up our efforts in that direction. Food has a heavy ecological footprint, from carbon emissions to freshwater consumption, that needs to be addressed to achieve a sustainable global food system. Rising awareness of diets combining high nutritional scores and low carbon footprints can advance the global food security agenda to feed the hungry people while furthering at the same time the sustainable development goals. That is the case exactly of the Mediterranean diet. Traditional methods of farming, as practices in the Mediterranean for many generations, provide some important lessons on how to assure that food security does not come at the expense of preserving the environment and maintaining biodiversity. We now need to combine millenary traditions with technological innovations, such as precision agriculture or sustainable biotechnologies, where Italy is a leader in the Mediterranean region, providing new solutions to the threat of drought, soil degradation, and biodiversity loss. We know this is a very hard challenge, but Italy, with its unique skill in combining tradition and innovation, is fully equipped to lead and pave the way towards a sustainable future for the next generations. In conclusion, let me stress that we do not see this commitment as only a sort of ecological strategy, but also as an economic strategy, as we see that the investments in sustainability, as Barilla can witness today, provide very robust return. Economy and ecology are not in competition. Both words include in their origin the ancient Greek word oikos, which means home. Let's work so together, feed our common home in a way which is sustainable for our economy and of course for our planet. The planet we must preserve for us and the next generations. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Mattiolo. It's a great honor to be virtually in Germany today, to be virtually in Berlin with you again. Today, actually, we are celebrating Mediterranean diet, as you said, but also this celebration for us is like embedded within the major initiative that our Ministry of Foreign Affairs is organizing every year to celebrate the Italian excellencies. So I'm Sara Roversi. I'm the founder of the Future Food Institute, and I'm very honored today to talk about Mediterranean diet with some experts, representative, say, ambassadors of the Mediterranean diet, and people that are actually taking inspiration from a millennial traditions and transforming this into something that is really leading in the way we are doing business in a sustainable way, in a way we are spreading our culture and our identity. So I want to invite in this virtual stage with me Stefano Pisani, who's the mayor of the city of Pollica. Then I want to invite Andrea Sorbello, Public Affairs and Government Relations Manager from Barilla, and Paola Sarcina, Art Director of Cerealia Festival. And I'm really glad to start this conversation that is going to take us really on understanding which are the values, which are the key elements, the key tools that we can put in place to use Mediterranean diet I think like as soft power, because what we are really sharing with the world is something more than just our ingredients. I think is a way of living, is a way of doing things, is a way of also connecting the dots with something that has really millennial years of history. So first of all, I would love to invite Mayor Stefano Pisani, who's really the one representing in Italy Mediterranean diet, because Pollica is one of the 7 emblematic cities, emblematic communities that get the nomination from UNESCO because they are still representing the real identity of the Mediterranean diet. Stefano.
Thank you, Sara. Thank you. It's a pleasure for me. Thank you to the ambassador, Mattiolo. I'm totally agree with the speech of the ambassador. It's fantastic. Real represent the spirit of Mediterranean diet, the right way for the future. Thank you for talk about Pollica as one of the 7 emblematic community. Yes, but Pollica is the one of the most important place in Cilento, as recognized as an emblematic community by UNESCO. What's an emblematic community? This is the question. Mediterranean diet as a cultural heritage for the world, but UNESCO tried to find a place where the lifestyle, the Mediterranean lifestyle, in the modernity is real, is now exists. Don't lost the real Mediterranean diet lifestyle. So the UNESCO find the Mediterranean lifestyle in Pollica. But the other question is, what is a lifestyle? A way to live? There are product, a way to cook the product, not totally. The ambassador said many years, millennia, thousands of years of culture and history is the first step to recognize, to understand the Mediterranean lifestyle. So near Pollica, near here, there is an ancient site of archaeological, an ancient archaeological site, Elea Belia, where around 2,500 years old was built a city where famous philosopher Parmenide and Zenone talk about for the first time about Mediterranean lifestyle, and think it's very, very strange, but only in the 1975 a famous scientist, Ansel Keys, for the first time called the lifestyle of Cilento, of Pollica, as Mediterranean diet. And the most important thing is to underline that diet is not to use food, a way to use food, but is a lifestyle, a way to live. So we put together tradition, culture, and the social relation. Think for the Mediterranean lifestyle, is very important the way to consume the food. When we stay together around the table and talk, laugh and discuss about Mediterranean diet or about normal thing in our life, we stay we live as a Mediterranean lifestyle. But for the local community is not all important the history. The challenge for the future for us is use history, use cultural heritage as a Mediterranean diet to have a better future than now. We need to build a better future for the next generation. If you know the Italian cuisine, you think to dish only for the wonderful flavor of the dish, but nobody think about dish as only an expression of culture, a way to produce, a way to protect the environment, a way to protect biodiversity. So probably the right thing to say about Mediterranean diet is if you want to change the future, if you want to have a better future for your child, is necessary to change the way to produce food. Yes, it's strong to say, but it's real. So if you produce in the best way the food for everybody, you change the future for the planet. And in Pollica, we try to do this with many friends, and in particular with Future Food Institute, because if you want to change the future, you don't only preserve the culture and tradition. You use the innovation and project. Sorry for my English, but you can, if you use the innovation for agriculture and our lifestyle, you have a new way to have more occupation, more work, more for me. But I'm only the mayor of Pollica. Pollica is not only the most beautiful place in the world for the mayor, it's normal. But in Pollica and other small village, you can try to experiment something about Mediterranean diet, and not only the way for the future. So you can try to design a new way for the future, and Mediterranean diet for us is the right way. And probably we need to invest. Everybody need to invest on Mediterranean diet in Italy. Is very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stefano. So I want to share this with you because last summer in September, we hosted in Pollica one of our bootcamp, training food and climate shapers. Our Future Food Institute, since 2 years, started a mutual journey together with FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. And our program has been created to train the innovators, the scientists, the youth, the climate activists that want to really act on climate and sustainability, starting from food. We have 4 tracks: studying climate smart cities, climate smart farms, studying the oceans, studying sustainable fishery, and so on. But we decided last year to start a chapter on climate smart kitchen and regenerative kitchen, understanding the importance really on nudging people in changing their eating habits, because we understood that this is such an important starting point. And so, of course, the pandemic started, and we have been forced not to run boot camps in 10 different countries in the world. And we decided to dedicate all our attention to Pollica. And in September, we have been able to invite in Pollica students coming from Japan, from Canada, from US, from South America. And it was a real discovery. And it was beautiful, not only to host them in an incredible place, because Cilento, like Italy, is of course an incredible and beautiful place. But of course, they were really experiencing the beauty of the biodiversity, the richness of the biodiversity, but the values and the ingredients that made Mediterranean Basin such an important and crucial place from the cultural perspective, but also from, let's say, all of those other aspects. As Major Pisani was saying, of course, in Italy, we are very lucky, but sometimes we don't see how many rich elements we underestimate and are pretty close to our home. And when we were there in Pollica, we decided to start to talk about Mediterranean diet, inviting students and experts from all over the world to kick off the journey inside the archaeological park, explaining them how Parmenide and Zenone 300 years before Christ were already talking about the need of finding a balance between humans and nature, and connecting what they were saying with the Sustainable Development Goals, with topics that are, of course, the most important challenges we are facing, explaining them that we are not starting from scratch to think about these topics, but since 2000 years, we have been thinking and debating about that. And then we started connecting the dots through the history, understanding that exactly in the same place, just a few kilometers away, after some centuries, another schools came to life. La Scuola Salernitana, the first, say, Western medical school in the world. And again, another important thing, connecting the health of the planet, the health of the soul, the balance of humans, and also the first studies related to the health of people. And then, of course, we went back studying what the science has been able to create in these years, connecting the history and the publication and the research of Ansel and Margaret Keyes, two American scientists coming in Italy after the World War and studying why people living in this area were living more than others, had different kind of impacts on cardiovascular disease, were living better, healthier, in a very healthy environment. And of course, we started understanding that to build a better future, probably we need to learn from our history. And in Pollica, we were not alone, because Barilla was with us. And Barilla, since the beginning of our institute, has been one of the greatest partners, because the big challenge now is to also scale up the impact and make those sustainable models not only in a small scale, but also in larger scale. And the big challenge now is feeding the 10 billion people in a sustainable way and in a healthy way. And the good for you, good for the planet principle for us is one of the greatest examples in the world. And we, trust me, we work in US, we work in Japan, we work in China, we work in many different parts of the world. And for sure, our double pyramid is, I think, the greatest example. And so for this reason, in Pollica, we had with us many of our partners, and Barilla was able to support scholarship for those students that were coming in Pollica to study the principle of Mediterranean diet. And this is the reason why we wanted to have Barilla with us today, because last year we were presenting the recipe for the future together in Berlin. And so we are doing incredible things in Germany, and we would love Andrea to share with us how a big industry can start to create this positive impact, both on the health of people and health of the planet.
Thank you, Sara. That was a very good introduction and nice words on us. We were happy to be in Pollica. Of course, I wasn't, unfortunately, myself in Pollica, but we will catch up sooner or later. Of course, it was a pleasure also because we were, as you said, continuing a journey that started a year ago, a little more than a year ago in the embassy in Berlin. The ambassador would remember what we did in his embassy was pretty big. But it was a beautiful day to discuss topics related to food, to sustainability, to the environment. Actually, many things that the ambassador and the mayor said are a bit of a spoiler of what I would have said. They mentioned many topics that we know very well. First, that there is a connection between people's health and planet's health. As you said that as well, Sara. And also that we need to look at innovation now to start moving on. Because we have millennial traditions, as the ambassador said, but millennial traditions, of course, are rooted in millennia ago. Now we need to develop innovation. We need to bring those traditions to life today. And that was, I think, also the experiment that we tried to do with the Mediterranean diet. Now, if you allow me to, I have a very short presentation I'd like to share with you that goes a bit through the journey that we have taken in Barilla, in our company. And I think can give you a good summary of what we are doing today and what we are planning to do for the future. you know, the company is a family company. So still today, in the hands of the Barilla family, of the three brothers, Guido, Luca, and Paolo Barilla, that you see all on the right, I hope at least. This is also an important path of what the company is today. Being a family company definitely allows you to look into the future with more perspective than other companies, and this has helped us a lot into developing our sustainability policy. We all know that there are global challenges. We all know what the 2030 agenda is, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. Just one quick remark. We consider almost all, if not all, the Sustainable Development Goals linked by food. And this is why we believe that making food more sustainable will support the whole world into achieving the Development Goals agenda in 2030. There are some, of course, like the SDG number 2 that are specifically dedicated to the food world, but all of them, if you think about it, are somehow related or can be improved by working on food systems. That's what our foundation has tried to do. Since 2015, we've been working on this. Here is a picture from last year's forum on stage with the Barilla. This was in Milan. Unfortunately, as we all know, today it's complicated to host this kind of events. This is why we are doing it online, and we hope to reach as many people, if not more. But the forum has always been a moment in which we stopped for one day and we discussed food into the many areas that are connected in food systems. And we always discuss, of course, how to make it more sustainable in all dimensions, from the economic to the social to the environmental dimension. You mentioned the double pyramid, Sara, already, which is our, kind of our foundation, or definitely where the journey started years ago. It's a very simple exercise, the pyramid. So I will just try to explain it. On one side, we have the classic nutritional pyramid, which is based on the Mediterranean diet principles. And we all know it more or less. Some of us know it better, and some of us implement it better in their daily lives. Some of us are still some ground to catch. But definitely at the bottom is the foods that we should consume more often because they have more nutrition. They are more nutritionally balanced, and on top of it is the food that we should consume, but less often. What the foundation did years ago, the Barilla Foundation, was to compare this with the environmental impact of food. And that's where we have found a connection, that the food that is good and healthy for the people, like cereals, vegetables, fruits, is also the food that has a lower environmental impact. And this perfectly connects with the Mediterranean diet, and this perfectly connects with the Med diet having at the same time a value for our own health, for our own well-being, and for the health and the well-being of our planet. And that's where we got our Good for You, Good for the Planet mission. That, as you see, is also is perfectly inspired by the Italian lifestyle and the Med diet principles as well. This is the guiding mission for the company. It's been so since some time now, and it's translated into the business. You said that we are a company, we are a business, and so we, of course, need to translate higher principles like this one, higher mission, into our everyday work life. On nutrition, what we have done, it's mostly improving and reformulating our products. More than 400 since 2010, with a reduction in salt, in sugar, in fats, or with an increase in terms of fiber. We have removed palm oil. That is another example of what we have done throughout the years. And of course, we are trying to educate and promote correct lifestyles to people and to young generations especially. And here's where I get to the event that we had last year in Berlin. It was a very hot 6th of June, if I'm not mistaken, probably too hot for Berlin, as there was a thunderstorm in the late afternoon. But we were inside the embassy. Still, many thanks to the ambassador for their hospitality. What we launched in Berlin is this project, which is called Recipes for Good Living. it's a project driven by the Barilla brand, so our pasta and sauces brand. And what we wanted to do with this project was to bring the Mediterranean diet into a new life, bring it closer to new generations, and bring it closer to foreign markets, like Germany in particular. That's why we were in Germany. It's a project that we launched together with the Future Food Institute, so thanks as well, Sara, and with many chefs. Just to mention a few, Pietro Lehmann from Switzerland, Davide Oldani, the Italian chef. The overall concept was, let's take the Mediterranean diet principles that we all know are good, that we all know we should follow. Let's translate them into something easy to understand, into some basic lifestyles, everyday lifestyles principles. And let's try to bring that kind of style, that kind of Mediterranean lifestyle to young people. Why young people? Well, actually young students in that case, because the first idea was to bring this project to young university students from Germany for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that young students are the ones that for the first time are out of their homes and they need to start cooking for themselves. So we wanted to transfer them ideas and principles of what healthy food habits, or how healthy food habits are important for our everyday life, and what can concretely mean to adopt healthy food habits. And on a second level, it's also because the young generation, the Gen Z generation, as we say, is also a generation that's very much interested and kind of triggered by environmental and sustainability causes. They follow very much the environmental debate today. We know that that there are a lot of movements started by young people, young generations. I'm not just thinking of Greta Thunberg, but there are many other young activists around the world that are really fostering the debate on sustainability, bringing it to a new level, and also bringing back the old generation attention on these issues. So it was a good combination to try and bring the Med diet, its principles, and its double side, health and planet sustainability, to this generation. Concretely, what did we do throughout 2019? We have developed these principles. It was an easy to read, very easy to read textbook, the one you see there on the slide, top left, which was given with a bag with also some gadgets to more than 94,000 people throughout Germany in 7 university cities. And we did cooking class because the key principles that we were trying to share where first you need to choose wisely when you make a food choice. Second, you need to cook well. But third, you need to share with other people. Part of the Italian lifestyle, part of the Italian culture is rooted into the idea of sharing together a meal around a table. That's an essential part of it. So what we wanted to do was also to show students that cooking is fun and sharing is fun. And that's what we did with cooking classes. This was all organized also thanks to the Future Food Institute, and it ran through the fall of 2019. And unfortunately, it had to stop because of what happened in 2020. But perhaps we will start doing it again in the near future. A couple of final remarks, because the ambassador said it very well. There is a connection between health and environment. There is a connection between environment and innovation today, farming and innovation today. And that's also a path that the company has been following very closely, involving farmers in our strategic supply chains. That's something that we have done, for instance, on durum wheat. And that's the reason why you can today find pasta in Italy, which is made with Italian durum wheat, which is also grown partially according to sustainability principles and following a cultivation guidelines, a cultivation handbook. And this is also why we are working today into sustainable logistics. So the first example I wanted to convey to you today is this one about durum wheat, about sustainable supply chains. And this one connects very well what was said before, that we need to innovate, we need to adopt precision agriculture, sustainable agricultural principles if you want to bring our agriculture into this century, and if you want to lower its environmental impact. And that's something that the food industry is working on. The food industry can help farmers achieve. On the second level, there is the need to convey and to carry our goods in a sustainable way around the world. And the reason I mentioned this project on sustainable logistics is because it involves, once again, Germany. It's from this year, and it's a project that is helping us carry our products in Germany on rail. It's an innovation. Before, we were doing it on track. It was going through the highways, through the tolls. And now what we are doing is we have brought down 5,000 trucks. We have grounded them, and we are using trains to reach Germany. That implies savings in terms of emissions. That implies savings in terms of costs. Because once again, business need to look at the cost side of things, and the good news is that we can have sustainable practices and business results together, combined together. And we are going. Here we go through this route from Parma to Ulm, so from Parma to southern Germany, and from southern Germany to the rest of the country. Perfectly fine, with no logistical issues. I just want to mention this. You know, the first moment in the pandemic, there were a lot of logistical problems because countries were closing their borders. They never closed the borders to trains. Trains continue to run perfectly smooth, including our trains to Germany, to Austria in some cases. So here it is, once again, a good proof that you can combine environmental sustainability, business sustainability together, and achieve good results for the environment and for the people. That's it. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope it was interesting, and I thank you all once again for inviting Barilla, for keeping us in the loop in this conversation, and for keeping working together with us.
Yeah, it was great to went back to our tour in all the German universities. It's been such a great experience. But let me invite you and open the invitation to the German students to come to Pollica to live the 100% Mediterranean experience in the next September.
I will book my plane tickets as soon as we are sure that we can get there, because yeah, of course it was Germany was a great experience, but I'm pretty sure that Pollica is as well, especially in September. So looking forward to it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Andrea. I'm always very inspired because in one way, when we go there and we talk with the farmers that still are farming their orchard, their farm close to their house, they have this kind of a circle of life that is so natural and so balanced, is amazing. And we should all get inspired from that. But on the other hand, we also know that we need to help the big industry like yours one to face the change that is needed. And it's amazing to see companies like Barilla that are really trying to do it and make it happen. And of course it takes time because you are gigantic organizations and people think that is an easy thing to do, but the food industry is such a complex thing. And so thank you, because I think that we need more industry like that. And now we're talking about celebration. We're talking about highlighting traditions, but also we think that biodiversity is a very, very important topic. We know how much cereals are a crucial element of the Mediterranean diet. And I'm very glad that we had the chance to learn more about Cerealia Festival. And so I want to invite Paola Sarcina to share with us what's the festival, what's the tradition behind that, what's the history, why is such an important thing to give value to the soil, to the land, and to the richness of the diversity that the Mediterranean basin has been able to show and to keep and protect for these millennials. Paola, join us in the conversation.
Yes, here I am. Do you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. So thank you to you, Future Food Institute, and to Ambassador Luigi Mattiolo, that we know for many, many years, and for the invitation. So I will start, before to go deep in the presentation, Cerealia, I will start to an introduction, historical introduction that can give you the idea and the vision from where we start when we decided 10 years ago to organize this festival. And so I hope it's okay for you if I go reading my text, just because this is easier for me doing a presentation in English. So nowhere on the globe, the relationship between geography and history from the dense and intricate web as in the Mediterranean. Behind the borders and the difference of religions, behind its rich and complex popular life, the Mediterranean world is a wide system with a complex history and the influence of different origins. It is the result of the meeting of the different civilizations that have made it fertile. Behind the many civilizations that have flourished and extinguished on the Mediterranean shore, perhaps a consequence of its millennial legacy is the only political organization extended to the whole Mediterranean, which was the Roman Empire, which in bringing the coast of the Mediterranean to unification meant that a large geographical area had political and economic unit with the same administration, language, and urban lifestyle. Through this sea, idea and products were transferred and civilization were established. The Mediterranean is the sea between the lands, a sea between the mountain, a deep sea and the familiar sea, where men are used to live in communication. Everything is relatively close. Every protrusion of the coast is a reference. The island, facilitating the knowledge of the routes, favor navigation and maritime trade, and plains and depression have always been the ideal place for agriculture. The Mediterranean is the kingdom of the olive tree, one of the most widespread and cultivated trees from the most remote antiquity. In the driest region on the parched ridge, it often supports the soil cultivated with cereals, just as the expansion of the grape vine is perhaps the most suggestive chapter of the influence of the Mediterranean on Europe and the world. Rome assimilated the civilization of the grape vine from Greece, and the great respect surrounded the vine among the Romans. Bread, wine, and oil formed the basis of the Mediterranean rural economy, and in particular wine and oil were the first and main agricultural export product in all the ancient Mediterranean civilization. Wine, oil, and bread were also elements of the ritual. But the basis of agriculture, as far back as history allow us to go, are cereals, seeds, and the fruit tree. The crop rotation involves a 3 or 7 year cycle with the alternation of winter cereal and spring cereal, and the herbaceous fallow exploded to graze sheep and pigs. Thus, the relationship between man and animals has accompanied agricultural practice in the Mediterranean since ancient times. Agricultural and livestock farming have been closely associated, and every great thrust of civilization has been characterized by an enrichment of the agricultural heritage. Mediterranean agriculture has been a livelihood agriculture for centuries, profoundly influencing the composition of the diet, the lifestyle, derived more from the land than from fishing or livestock. And the Mediterranean is at the same time the oldest and the newest of the rural world of Europe. Its past and its tradition, however, way less and less on peasant habits today, even if the characteristic of its original agriculture landscape can still be seen in some regions. In the Mediterranean, man is the true constitutive element of the physiology of the place, which he has modeled and animated with difficulty over the millennia with his presence. And the Mediterranean has contributed to the propagation of ideals and techniques that are now Euro-Mediterranean heritage, and which owe so much to the East, the cradle of the ancient civilization. Today's world owes its main elements of universality to the Mediterranean. In the deeper layers of a rural civilization, it is thus necessary to seek the roots of a Mediterranean unity. Bread mixed with the sweet of the brew, the sobriety and frugality of peasant food, the pleasure of living and sharing the table, the co-presence of poverty and material difficulty, the sharing of human value expressed in different culture and tradition, a treasure trove of experience that has enriched, perhaps like no other, the heritage of humanity, the rediscovery of agrarian rights and form of traditional popular life can help us to clarify and understand our common roots and better build our future. So these are the background of Cerealia, which is a festival dedicated to the history and importance of grains in all its form in the Mediterranean region. In ancient Rome, grains were celebrated in the rites of the Vestal and in the Ludi of god Ceres. And these ancient rituals represent the ancient Roman historical inspiration of our festival. The international flavor of the festival derives from the emphasis on cultural exchange and enrichment that by focusing on different countries every year, we start in 2011 with Egypt, and then we went every year through Turkey, Greece, Cyprus, Croatia, Morocco. 2017 was dedicated to the 60th anniversary of the Treaty of Rome, and then Malta and Tunisia in 2019. In 2020 festival was not organized due to the COVID pandemic. So we will organize our 10th edition next year. The Mediterranean is the intersection for a myriad of collective identities and society connected but essentially diverse. And since ancient times, cultural pluralism has been a dominant feature in the Mediterranean basin. So Cerealia serves as an opportunity for cultural exchange on many levels. The festival events address issues including nutrition, environment, economy, tourism, landscape, social and cultural importance of grains through human history. The social and economic importance of grains, essential component of the human food pyramid, as Barilla also expressed, is undisputed. And Cerealia seeks to increase awareness on the value of land and of indigenous culture, to renew ties between area producing grains and consumer, and to revitalize ancient customs based on the respect for the earth and its bounty. The festival intends to promote the sharing of common challenge at the level of a regional cluster among people overlooking the Mare Nostrum, stimulating the development of sustainable and circular economy models, and promoting, of course, also the 17 SDG of the United Nations Agenda 2030, with a participatory bottom-up approach. So we work as a network of different organizations spread along the country, and which enhance the demands on and skill of civil society, more involving the civil society in the respect and salvaguard of the Mediterranean ecosystem. If we have 3 minutes, I want to ask our Francesco Tito to show the video that is a trailer of the last edition of the festival in 2019, so you can have a feeling through the video what was the the mood of the festival, the kind of activity that we organize. The video was shoot in Rome, so represent only the event that we organize in Rome, but as I have told you, we have many activity going around the country in different other regions. So please go with the video. I hope there is audio too.
Amara a quitté la mer, son bateau a quitté le port, et le roi a quitté la reine, Navarre a quitté son eau. Amara a quitté la mer, son bateau a quitté le port, et le roi a quitté la reine, Navarre a quitté son eau. Une veuve a quitté le deuil, une folle a quitté l'asile, et ton sourire a quitté mes lèvres. Et voilà, voilà, et voilà, 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 tu m'épouseras. Voilà, 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 tu me reviendras. Voilà, 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 tu m'épouseras. Et voilà, 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 tu m'épouseras. Voilà, voilà.
Thank you so much. Really, really interesting to know about that. I think it's going to be one of those dots that we need to connect.
Yes, I hope so.
Thank you so much. So together with Major Stefano Pisani on, say, November 16th, actually we started our celebration together with the other 6 emblematic communities of the Mediterranean diet. And we started a kind of a marathon all around the world, because together we started with our friends of the Mediterranean area, but also we started joining forces with many other Italian embassies around the world. So we are very glad that actually with our Minister of Foreign Affairs, we have been talking about traditions and innovations and Mediterranean diet really as a recipe for the future in San Francisco. And then, of course, in India, where we were talking, connecting the 2 cultures and starting from Alexander the Great, connecting with their culture. And then we went in Santiago in Chile, talking with students of Italian schools in Chile. And again, also talking about philosophy and talking about health, talking about the impact of Mediterranean diet and the Mediterranean lifestyle for aging population. And then we have been really running in 13 different countries, talking not only about the key ingredients that are such an important part of our Italian identity, but also talking about innovation. So we're really glad actually that we are now here in Berlin. Then we are at the end of this amazing conversation, but also we are at the end of the year. And we're gonna face a very crucial year, because 2021 is gonna be the year of the G20 that our country is going to host. It's going to be the year of the COP26, where again, our country is going to be at the epicenter of the dialogue, talking with the youth, because we are going to host the pre-summit in Milan. And then we are also going to host in Rome the pre-summit of the United Nations Food System Summit, because the Secretary General of the United Nations have been announcing that in 2021, we need to tackle the climate crisis. If we want to fix everything else around, we need to start from food. So our country is ready to host the world, and we hope we can fly and we can host the world. So I think that this is an incredible opportunity for us as Italians to strengthen the relationship with the crucial countries that have been always welcoming our ingredients, our elements, our values. I still remember when I was in Berlin for the B20 and the G20. This has been for sure one of the best experiences, and I saw how crucial are those meetings, because we need multilateral cooperation and support really to make this change happen. Ambassador, I leave the last word to you, because I think that we need to bring the legacy of the journey that we have been doing, but also we need to get ready for the year ahead.
Thank you. And I mean, thank you for this conversation. I hope we were able not only to exchange views, but also to contribute to raising awareness about the importance of the Mediterranean diet, the role it can play towards eco-sustainability and a new different global food system. As you said, next year will be extremely relevant from both these points of view, because Italy is fully engaged with the G20 chairmanship, as well as with this partnership with UK, with a view to the COP26. I mean, there are reasons to be optimistic, because around the world, from US to Europe to China, there are very good signals. I mean, there's some climate targets, even ambitious, are going to be pursued, and that some commitments taken in Paris will be even increased some years later. So I mean, let's go on making our effort. Let's keep in touch, and I mean, I look forward to pursue our conversations in presence in Berlin. Thank you.
Let's do it. Thank you, Andrea Sorbello, for being with us and for being with us from the beginning of the journey. And we wait for you in Pollica. Paola as well, September, the first week of September for the Food and Climate Shaper Bootcamp in Pollica and Major Pisani.
I will wait for you in June in Cerealia. So.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much also to the audience that was following on the different social media. And let's stay in touch, because 2021 is going to be a very important year, and we need to work together to make the goals achievable. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.